thank you for being here for our quarterly VA Town Hall, as well as for our Veterans, well, actually, we call this the Wellness Mayfair Festival. So thank you for being out here, too. So we have approximately 70 community partners out here with us today, as well as about 20 of our VA different entities out here as well. So I want to invite you to take an opportunity to go check out some of those services and resources that they have as well, because obviously the VA can't do all things for veterans, but with our strong community partners, we're able to try and address just about anything in this community for veterans, caretakers, family members. So and we have a tremendous support from our local community. So thank you for those people being here, and please check that out. So this is what we call a moderated town hall here. This is what we do at our VA every quarter, and what it is we will, our format is we'll do introductions. Each of our speakers here today will give you an update on their particular area of responsibility, and then after that, today we're going to have a couple of speakers. One is Ms. Cheryl Martin is going to come speak to us about the Mission Act, which will be going into effect here very soon. After that, we go into what's called a moderated town hall, and this comes from our veterans. We do things a little differently. This isn't a free-for-all, so if you have a question, a comment, or concern that you want us to potentially try and address here that is of general interest, please fill out one of the comment cards in the back. Mr. Dave Martinez or Mr. Kerry Gardner, Mr. John Archiquette can bring you a card. If you just want to raise your hand, they'll bring one to you. If the question is of a personal nature, if it's kind of personal, patient privacy, like HIPAA type things, we're not going to get into that here, but if you have your contact information on your bite, within the next few days, we will get the person to provide that. What we're going to try and do, though, today is if we have that service provider here or somebody who can answer that question, we'll try and get you with them one-on-one. But if the question is kind of a general nature that might be of good interest for everybody, we are going to ask that here today. So those are kind of our ground rules. So thank you for being here. So let me just take a moment to introduce our panel to you, and then we'll open it up. To my left here is Ms. Tracy Scala. She is our acting director, and she is our full-time associate director here at the VA Medical Center. So Ms. Scala, thanks for being here. To Ms. Scala's left is Dr. Ramu Kamanduri, our chief of staff. To his left is Ms. Renee Lipscomb. She is with the Veterans Benefits Administration. She's an outreach coordinator for them down here in Southern Nevada. Thanks for joining us, Renee. And on the end is Mr. Fred Wagger, and Fred is our Deputy Director for Programs and Services for the Nevada Department of Veterans Services. Did I get that right, Fred? Outstanding. So thanks for being here, Fred. So like we said, it kind of takes a village to put it together. So I want to say kind of welcome to a few other special guests that are in the audience. So obviously with our partners is our congressional delegation too. Mr. Brendan Vargas is somewhere in the crowd here. Brendan is now Senator Jackie Rosen's new military and Veterans Affairs person. So Brendan, thanks for joining us. He's just retired from the Air Force. He may be on terminal leave for all I know. So
I'm retired.
Okay, so he is Senator Rosen's representative. I haven't seen our other congressional representatives here, but we do have very strong support from our congressional delegation. So we appreciate them and all they do for us here at the VA as well. So. As part of this event today, this is a partnership between us and the Southern Nevada Veterans Community Engagement Board, which is a group of about 50-plus organizations that work together to provide different resources to veterans. That can be transition, that can be suicide prevention, employment, education, health and wellness, which is kind of what the theme is today. So the chair of our Veterans Community Engagement Board is standing right over there on the end. That's Miss Nina Ridgway. So Nina, thanks for joining us as well. So we appreciate having you here. And right over here in the peak is Miss Eva Sakari. Eva is the person responsible for helping us put this together today. So thank you, Eva, for all your support. And I'd also like to thank my own staff, Mr. David Martinez and Mr. John Archiquette, for all of their work they've done here as well. So thank you. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to our leadership for some updates, and we'll start with Ms. Scala.
Good morning. How is everybody doing? There you go. All right. So I I've been the acting director for a little over a month, and we did receive the announcement yesterday that our new director, effective the 9th of June, is going to be Mr. William Bill Karen. Mr. Karen is the associate director at Tucson. I'm sorry, Mr. Karen is the director at Tucson VA and will be transferring here. But he did start his career in 2010 as the associate director at the Iron Mountain, Michigan VA Medical Center, and then he was here from 2014 to 2017 as the associate director before transferring to Tucson and taking the position as director. So on June the 9th, we expect his arrival, and then I know he'll start, reaching out to all of our community partners and spending time and engaging with them, our congressional delegations, and everyone else that partners with us to take and provide veteran services every day. So I know that you probably have questions about the Mission Act. As was mentioned earlier, Ms. Cheryl Martin is here with us, and she will be providing an update on the Mission Act and where we're at and what to expect over the next 30 to 45 days as we implement the Mission Act. We're looking forward to some changes as it'll take out the middleman for the VA and for the veteran so that you can work directly with us and we won't have that in-between person that you have to go to in order to get your services out in the community. Right now, we don't really have any updates from the Mission Act portion related to the caregiver program, so we are waiting for additional information to come out on that. Right now, you won't see anything happening in the front, but going that direction in the front of the hospital, in between our power plant right next door to the Fisher House, we're currently in the design phase for both a new primary care building and a new women's health center. So those are in design. Yay, I know. Being a female, veteran, I'm looking forward to that happening. But so those are in design right now, and we have identified veterans from the group population that we have here in Las Vegas to help us with that design, to make sure that we have your input on how that should look, what the flow should be, and making sure that it meets all your needs. So that is in design in 2019, and we anticipate probably breaking ground towards the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. That's the calendar year. Okay. Technology-wise, we are always looking at new technology and how we can implement new technologies to better the services and to give you more options. We've also just recently opened up our tele-ICU, and this is in partnership with the Minneapolis VA. This is for a partnership for our critical care staff in our ICU so that they have around-the-clock access to what's called an intensivist. And that profession gives us the advice and the counsel that we need to provide assistance to care for our individuals that are on the ICU itself. So we may not have all the necessary different types of specialties that we need here, but through the advent of telehealth type of programs, we're able to reach out to other VAs and obtain those services so that we can provide them here locally, helping you to stay in-house with us and maybe not need to go out in town. We also are rolling out what's called VA Video Connect. How many of you have a smartphone? The majority of you, okay. So with VA Video Connect, you can take and be at home, you can be on the road, you can be in a hotel room, you can be at the airport. You can take and log in through a secure room through VA Video Connect if you have an appointment with your provider, get an appointment, and then take and receive your services while you are on the road somewhere if you need to, or from home, keeping you from having to drive in, especially if you're coming from a long distance. I actually tried this out recently and did a VA Video Connect session with an individual in women's health, and I absolutely love it. If you get a chance, there is an app that you can take and load to your phone or your tablet, and you can take and get yourself signed up through VA Video Connect. So those are some of the new technologies that we're looking at implementing and have implemented and will expand on. Staffing, I know that we continue to grow our staff. Right now we have a little over 3,000 approved FTE for the facility. I think we're staffed at about 2,800 staff right now on board. we will always have some vacancies that we're trying to recruit for, and we continue to actively recruit using every potential recruitment incentive that we possibly can in order to bring quality staff in to take care of our veterans. We are planning to have a nursing career fair in June so that we can assist currently and get more people into the pipeline for employment and help with VA nurses or nurses who want to become VA nurses with the application process. We also have a new Veterans Experience Chief, Monica, who is sitting right over there in the corner. Thank you. We're glad to have her here with us. She's done some phenomenal stuff in, the last 30 days since you joined us. And she's been actively engaging with our veterans and all of our service organizations. She recently joined us, and she came from the Central Texas VA, where they have significantly improved their customer service and patient satisfaction over the last several years. And we look forward to her continued development of our Veterans Experience programs and working with all of our veterans to make your experience here great every time you show up. So we do have some upcoming events that are happening. We have another free legal assistance that will be happening here in the auditorium, and that will be from 10 to 2 on May the 10th and May the 11th. This is in partnership with Nevada Attorney General's office, and it is open to veterans, active duty, guard, reserve, and family members. They'll be able to take and help you do wills, powers of attorney, and discuss other legal matters. If you want to take advantage of this, it is asked that you sign in by noon so that they can assist you before the event ends at 2 o'clock on each of those days. So again, that's going to be on May the 10th and the 11th, and it'll be from 10 to 2 in our auditorium. We also have what's called a VA 2K walk and roll. It's going to be held starting here in this space from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on May the 15th. It's open to anyone who wants to participate, and it includes a small walk around the hospital area. The event is also designed so that we can take and help homeless veterans as well. We'll be taking donations of cash, gift cards, water, toiletries, unused clothing, and other items to assist these individuals. And last year, we were recognized as the VA that provided the most donations in the nation from any other VA. So we look forward to achieving that again this year and maybe exceeding what we were able to collect last year. It's unused clothing, so it would be new clothing. Yeah, right. Okay. Actually, you can probably work with our voluntary services on that. So, yeah, there's Charlie.
Yeah, right back here. Town Officer Charlie Becker, right back here. She can answer all your questions about what type of donations.
Okay, so we also, for our pregnant veterans and active duty service members in the area, we're going to have a baby shower. The VA does this every year, and it's going to be on May the 17th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Expected veteran and active duty mothers are welcome to register until May the 10th. And at that time, when they attend the baby shower event, we're going to give out gift baskets that have been provided both from our national and our local partners who help support veterans. So again, that's going to be on May the 17th, and will be from 11 to 1. Then we also are going to have what's called an employment boot camp. In reference to that, the Southern Nevada Community Engagement Board is going to host this employment boot camp, and it will be here at the VA on July the 10th. So we're going to have community organizations. They'll be able to provide classes on federal and civilian resume writing, interviewing, dressing for success, and social media. And after that, then we're going to have a job fair later in July. So those are all of the written items that I have to cover. I don't really have anything else at this point, so I'll turn this over to Dr. Ramu Commandori, our Chief of Staff, and let him give you an update.
All right, thank you so much for everyone for being here and your service and the veterans and their families for all your service you've done. Let's talk a little bit about where we are and where we're heading. The good thing, really positive for us, is veterans are choosing to come to Las Vegas and to this VA. We remain among the top 10 fastest growing VAs in the nation, which is a great status to be in. A lot of VAs are actually not seeing it. So veterans are moving probably from colder climates to better climates here, so that's good news for us. So we're very happy to have veterans here and have more veterans enrolled. So the things that we are doing to enhance and improve services, the things that are not easily available for us locally, we're working within our own network to establish links and services. I'll give you a good example. Bariatric surgery, which we've heard about, is available. We are working with our Palo Alto partners to establish a bariatric surgery referral program so that we can send veterans over there, and if they need bariatric surgery, we can get it through the VA system. The other things that we've done locally and surgically is we've got a great partnership for Nellis Air Force Base. We work with Nellis for obviously quite a long time. We have a joint venture hospital. So at Michael Callahan or Nellis Air Force Base, what we do is we work with their spine surgeons. We have 2 spine surgeons that are there at Nellis that come here and do clinic. They see veterans here in the clinic. They've actually operated on several veterans at Nellis. And eventually we're working to develop a spine surgery program so we can do the surgery here or at Nellis. It's close, so we will be able to add more complex surgery. And really getting complex spine surgery is great to have here. Things that we already have in-house, complex care. We have complex vascular surgery, which we perform on a regular basis. We have complex thoracic surgery, which we perform. We have general surgery available. And we work with San Diego to do some complex ear, nose, and throat surgery. On the recruitment front, we have been recruiting and interviewing a new ear, nose, and throat surgeon, which we hope to get. That's a hard specialty to find, and we're actually competing with 3 other VAs to get this doctor, so we're flying him out next week and hoping he'll come to us instead of the other VAs. So we're working to bring on an ear, nose, and throat surgeon. The other surgical areas we're recruiting is urology, which has been a very difficult area to recruit and bring forward, which is not just for us, but across the country. The things that we're also doing with the university, we've just hired a hand and plastic surgeon, which we hope to start in the next few months. We already have an excellent, outstanding hand surgeon on board. We have an excellent group of orthopedic surgeons. Those of you who've gotten care through our ortho service will know that. So we're going to hire a second-hand plastic hand surgeon. We're working with Nellis to also coordinate an additional hand surgeon here in the fall. He'll be back. He'll be deployed to us basically in August. So we look forward to adding even more hand services. So the good news is to have more plastic surgery, hand surgery. In the medicine arena, we've recruited a dermatologist, made an offer. I'm hoping we will have an additional dermatologist on board. That's been another challenging area to recruit. As you know, with the sun, we certainly could use all the dermatologists we can get. So we're working additionally with that. In GI, we have worked with the university to hire a part-time gastroenterologist who's a hepatology doctor. We're actually recruiting from UCLA. We're hoping to get him here in the next few months, so we'll get more GI services. But gastroenterology, as you know, is very difficult to recruit. We have 2 gastroenterologists. We continue to recruit more GI docs. That's the medicine area. In endocrinology, we've hired a new endocrinologist. She'll be starting next month. We have another endocrinologist who's retiring, but we continue to recruit more endocrine docs. So every medicine specialty, we are doing hard work to recruit. In primary care, as you know, it has been so difficult, not just here, but in the community, to recruit, retain physicians. So we're offering everything we can, including educational debt reduction, so we can pay off their college loans, so that we can get a commitment for primary care docs to come here. We've also hired several advanced practice nurse practitioner APRNs to work both in primary care and in our intensive care and other specialty areas. So we're working with both APRNs, physician assistants, and more primary care physicians. We continue to recruit them. Again, and that's a challenging area to recruit and retain. The most recent data, if you look at where Nevada ranks, not only are we very lowly ranked, 47th or 50th when it comes to healthcare professionals, the latest data on reimbursement for physicians, Nevada ranks number 3 highest in the nation. So you can almost like go to one other state and the reimbursement is lower. So we are competing against a highly competitive market in the community. But we work on several ways to get that going. I sit on the governor's board. In fact, Monday we're working with the governor's board so we can give away another $2 million to attract residents and build residency programs with UNLV, also with collaborating with Toro University and Roseman University, and also Mountain View Hospital, which started their own residency program, and Valley Hospital. We're funding these programs through the governor so we can train specialists. We train subspecialty cardiologists at this medical center. We train gastroenterologists at this medical center. We're going to train more residents because it starts with residents. I'm a psychiatrist. I trained at UCLA, and as I started out, as I told a couple of veterans, I started out in '83 taking care of veterans at the VA and never left. And I came in as a medical student, so that's what we need to do, is attract more and more healthcare professionals early in their career. So we're working to recruit them. Fortunately, our mental health recruitment has been good. We've hired a solid number of psychiatrists and psychologists, social workers, and APRNs, and we have really good access in mental health that has improved. So our continued goal is to provide the care here as much as we can. I know we'll certainly have more options for veterans, but I know veterans want to come to the VA. The veterans I take care of, that I've taken care of for many, many years, appreciate what we do at the VA, and they want to continue to come here. So we'll keep looking for ways to add services here. And thank you for using the VA.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Renee Lipscomb. I am the VBA Regional Office, and we're just fortunate that we have space here in the VA. I'm not here by myself. I'm here with my other outreach partner, Rebecca Riles, and we both come on behalf of our new director, Franco Fritz, who is on fire to help our veterans in the benefits area of the VBA, and also our Veteran Service Center manager, Tina Tellerico, or Christina Tellerico. And that, so just a couple of changes, and I don't know if I said it already, but I should have said this first and foremost. Thank you all for your service, and I really mean that as a veteran to a veteran. Thank you guys for your service. It's really appreciated. And just a little bit on the appeals. I have like 5 pages of updates, but I tried to just kind of scale through and pick some items of importance. Also, I want to add, we have a table in the back, so if our questions get more personable, I'm going to send them back to the table and we can address. We have forms back there. We have resources and information that we are more than happy to share and explain processes and stuff like that. But just quickly, some of the updates, the appeals reform. If you have an appeal in motion, you probably already received a letter of some sort from the VA if you want to switch out from the old legacy system to the new appeals reform system, which allows 3 lanes of opportunity to get your appeal more expedited. So you have Lane 1, which is just a supplemental board, and I always tell folks when I'm out in the community, if you're going to choose that supplemental board, make absolutely sure that you provide additional information, because most of the items that you've submitted, we've looked at, such as medical records and that, but you want to include additional information. And then you also have an opportunity to do the higher level of appeal or directly to the Board of Appeals. So a lot of money has been issued, $342 million in retroactive benefits have been paid. Just a lot of good changes in the appeals program. So like I said, if you've given the opportunity, that opportunity will be offered again through a letter And if you don't get a letter, you're more than welcome to come to the benefits office, which we're fortunate enough. We're a regional office in Reno, but it's about 30 of us down here in Vegas that can help you. Also, on the Education Assistance Act, the lifetime benefit as opposed to the limited 15-year benefit of your GI Bill entitlement. They have a lifetime benefit. Also, that Education Assistance Act incorporates Purple Heart recipients, expands for National Guard and Reserve survivors as well. So some changes there where it opens up a door of opportunity. It opens up the length of time for award of education benefits. Also, the VBA is accelerating and streamlining in the claims process through automation. So a lot of the paper files have been extracted. They're going to more of an automation system where a lot of things that go on is going to be within a database to database. A lot of that paperwork, it saves tax dollars and that type of thing. So that's a good change of extraction. Just to give you a number, 8 million files have been extracted across 58 facilities. So just to show you how much is happening in that area. Bear with thank you. Also, the intake process is being digitalized for all claims. So changes there. The national work queue, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but to expedite the process, the claims are being distributed to a national work queue. And then what happens is they prioritize it, first come, next available. Benefits office or regional office will help in that claims process versus sending it to the closest available. It's just the next available regional office that's able to handle that claim, and that expedites the process and streamlines it as well. The VA is focusing not only on the veteran, but they're updating programs that impact the family members as well. So that's important. We care about not only our veterans, but our families as well, because we know the contributions that they make. So that's important. Also, we're having some regulation updates, and that'll come out in the near future. A lot of information, I'm adding a little bit extra here. You can go onto the va.gov website, and that'll provide a lot of the updates. It'll answer a lot of questions. You can pull forms from that website. And then also our toll-free number, that 1-800-827-1000. I always tell our veterans, if they say, well, I called and they left me on hold, I always tell them, stay on hold, it's worth the wait, okay? Because they can open your files and they can speak to you from having that information right in front of them. So if it's the extra 10 minutes on the phone, take advantage of that, because they will answer your questions and they do have your records available. One last thing that I'll make mention of, the Vocational Rehabilitation Employment Program. Over 115,000 participants are currently enrolled as of fiscal year 2019. So that's a plus. A lot of money is being spent on our veterans in terms of benefits, the claims process, pension process, and that. So again, I'd like to say on behalf of our director, Franco Fritz, and our VBA team here in Vegas and in Reno, thank you so much for your service. And don't forget to visit us at the table in the back. We're here to help.
Good morning. I'm Fred Wagner, and I'm the Deputy Director of Programs and Services for the Nevada Department of Veteran Services. I'm the only state person up here. I'm from the government, and I'm here to help. Truly I am. First of all, I'd like to thank the veterans and the spouses in the audience. We talked a lot about veterans, and Renee mentioned it. Our spouses, our dependents, pay a lot of price for supporting their veterans, and so I thank you for that. I'd like to thank the VA for inviting me to the town hall, because it is a partnership. We have a great partnership with not only the VHA, Veterans Health Administration, but the Veterans Benefits Administration as well. And so it's all has to be a partnership, or it just doesn't work. So I want to thank them for that. I want to talk about a few updates in our agency. As you know, we have our home in Boulder City. Now, it's not the leadership that makes that happen. It's the employees that work there. So very proud of what they do. And if you've never been there, please stop by, and they do give tours if you have a group that wants to come out. So please do that. As you may know, in 2017, legislation was passed to fund the new home in Sparks, Nevada. And so that is just completing the first phase of all the inspections and all of that. The next phase is actually bringing in people. Start out, I think they said we start out with 5, and then it's 20 some, and it grows from there. That's a 96 bed facility, all single person rooms. And I will tell you that when I go up to Reno, I'm going to visit often. They have a lunch there. You can actually do lunch in your pod area, but they have a lunch in the main facility that's off the menu. That's really cool. So you don't get that tray of whatever that meat is and vegetables. So it's off the menu, and what's really cool is it has a bar. How many veterans homes has a bar? This is the most up-to-date. They're going to serve beer and wine in that. And so when I have somebody I want to impress, I'll take them over to the home for lunch, and then bring them back later after hours and have a beer with them. So it's a great place. That is just underway, and that's Deputy Director of Health and Wellness, Wendy Simmons, is in charge of both of the homes. She's also in charge of suicide prevention and veterans homelessness, so does a great job. I should mention my boss, Director Miller. Director Kat Miller served in the Army. Who? Okay. Never mind. Go Army, beat Navy. But anyway, somebody heard that in the back. There we go. So anyway, Kat served in the military Army for 34 years. She was an MP. At one point, she was actually the commander at Fort Leavenworth, and she's an Afghan vet, served in Afghanistan, so she's been around. Smartest boss I've ever had. And if you talk to her, let her know I said so. So anyway, a couple things coming up very soon. As of today, right today, there's the flag ceremony, the unserviceable flag ceremony, where they do the proper honors and burn the flags. Last year we had approximately 10,000 flags, and so I'm glad that people are turning those in rather than desecrating them some other way. So we do this in an honorable fashion. Memorial Day is coming up. Memorial Day activities. So down at the cemetery. So my job as programs services, I have the veteran service officers, I have the outreach, and then I have the cemeteries in Boulder City and Fernley. And so on Memorial Day down here, there is the flag in ceremony. So all the planting of the flags, I believe they said 8,000 or something like that. We've had over 43,000 interred at that cemetery since 1990 when it opened. So we are the second busiest state cemetery in the nation, and I'm so proud of my crew down there. They're just wonderful. So Flag In is on Saturday the 25th, 7 a.m. for you early birds, and I will tell you, if you get there at 9, they will all have been planted. It takes about 45 minutes because we get that many volunteers. We couldn't do what we do without our volunteers, so just love having them out there. On the 26th, that's Sunday, so Saturday flag in. Sunday is the Special Forces Day. They have their memorial, and they start a motorcycle ride from Arizona on up. And by the time they get to the cemetery, there's about 500 motorcycles. So if you haven't seen that, come on out. That's 10 o'clock on that Sunday. And then on Monday, Memorial Day, of course, then we have our Memorial Day ceremonies. That's Monday, 27 May at 1 p.m. Judge Mark Stevens, if anybody knows him, he is the judge for the Veterans Court in Henderson. He's a Marine, so everybody should be able to understand him. He'll give clear orders, so we're good. But very, very happy that he's agreed to be the speaker for the Memorial Day ceremony this year. And I want to thank the volunteer groups down at the cemetery for helping us put this on, because our staff, I only have 15 people down there. They're busy doing cemetery work. And so very happy for the volunteers. Real quick, I just want everybody to know that state statute from 2017 says no longer ask, are you a veteran? We ask, have you served in the military? And the reason we do that is many veterans who didn't serve in combat don't think they're veterans. A lot of women veterans don't feel like they're a veteran. If you served any time in the military, and you served and you got your DD 214, by golly, you're a veteran. So keep that in mind. Speaking of women veterans, right in the process right now of hiring a new women veteran coordinator for the state. And so that individual will be our subject matter expert on women's health, and we're looking forward to having her come on board as well. We had a convening of women veteran stakeholders. VHA, Renee was there. Yes, Renee was there. We had VHA there, DAV, VFW, American Legion, the member from the Women Veterans Advisory Committee appointed by the governor, and a member of the Nevada Army National Guard. So we had them all there. We are trying to do better at reaching out to women veterans because they've served along everybody else, and it's time to recognize them. I do want to mention our app before I go. We have a brand new app, and all you got to do is type NDVS in the text, and you send that to 94502, and you can get updates from NDVS. That's a brand new app. It was just rolled out about 3 weeks ago, and so it's time to get the word out. Everybody's going digital. Somebody's trying to do it right now, so I will repeat. That's 94502 is the number you dial. 94502. My outreach director is telling me it's not 95402. No, I think I switched that. 94502. Try it. If it doesn't work, try 95402. What do I know? I'm just deputy director, right? My outreach director is back there. His name is Evan Rush. We have our booth right there as you come in. The first booth back there, all red, white, and blue. Please stop by if you have any questions or need any information. Find out the right number to send the NDVS to. He'll help you out with that. So I do want to recognize our veteran service officers. We have a number of them state employees, but I want you to know that we work extremely well, and we're mandated by statute to coordinate with veteran service officers. And so in this building right here, you've got DAV, VFW, Paralyzed Veterans of America, Catholic War Veterans, and us. And so all I will say, I don't care which VSO you go to. I really don't, as long as you go to one. Don't try to do the system by yourself. It's tough. I know. And I used to work there, so I know. But anyway, I will wrap that up. I will tell you that we do have the Nevada Veteran Advocate Program, which is our volunteers. And so if you're interested in that, please talk to Evan. We have an NVA back there also helping with the booth. So if you're interested, please come by and we will make that happen. I'm getting the 94502. All right, he looked it up for me. Thank you. 94502. And in the text, NDVS. Now I'll shut up.
Great. All right. Not great that you're shutting up, Rick, but thanks. Thanks for all that great information. straight. So Evan is our outreach coordinator here in the South for the Department of Veterans Services. So what I wanted to say before, we're going to bring Cheryl Martin up here to talk to you a little bit about the Mission Act, but I was remiss, I did forget to introduce a few of our senior leaders that are here in attendance as well today. So in the back here, we have Dr. Jennifer Strawn. She's our Associate Director for Patient Care Services and our Nurse Executive. To her right is Dr. Desiree Crawford, and she is a newly created executive position. She is our Deputy Nurse Executive. Our nurses are our biggest group of employees here at the VA, so it's a big responsibility. So Dr. Crawford is helping Dr. Strong with that now. So thank you, Dr. Crawford. And in the back is Mr. John Stessel. He is our Assistant Director, and our Acting Associate Director at the moment. So Mr. Stessel, thanks for being here as well, sir. All right, we're going to bring up Cheryl Martin. She oversees our community care programs here at the VA. She is also our Mission Act champion, so she is going to talk to you for a couple minutes about what we currently know about the Mission Act, which is just kind of some of the hierarchy stuff, but we're hoping to get some details over the next few weeks. So I'm going to turn it over to Cheryl and let her speak.
All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you. Some of you might not know what the Mission Act is, basically. All right, now, okay. Some of you may not know what the Mission Act is. Basically, it is Congress putting together some laws and enacting the VA is trying to interpret the laws. They all go into effect on June 6th. The choice program goes away, and then the Mission Act goes into play. And the criteria for going out to the community. Okay. All right, I'll talk about community care, going out to the community for services that maybe we don't have, or maybe you met some criteria. The 40-mile criteria is still in effect for another year. So if you are considered a 40-miler, you would call the VA, no longer try West. The other thing is they're going to implement, and this is still proposed, drive times. So if you live 30 minutes from your home to your primary care physician or mental health, you would be eligible to go out to community care. The other thing is it's now 20 days, not 30 days, for primary care if you can't get services within that time frame. And specialty care is 28 days. And again, this is proposed. It'll be published on June 6th, and that's when we will find out. There's a lot of tools that they're giving us that they are rolling out as we speak. So, work with us. Give us a call if you have any questions. We'd be more than happy to help you with community care. I know you have a lot of questions that you need me to. Okay, does anybody have any questions in regard to community care and all right, I have a table over there, our phone number is there, and there's some handouts over there that'll explain a little bit more about it, because it's not just about community care. There's the other components to the Mission Act.
Great. Thanks, Cheryl. So Cheryl, we're going to open up our Q&A session right now. So this is, like we said, a moderated session. So if you have a comment, you can put it on a card. I don't think we're going to get to any more than we have here today, just in the interest of time. But I'm going to give Cheryl the first two questions since she's up here, and then I'm going to help her answer one of them. So the one question... The one question Cheryl and I have talked about this, neither of us run this program, but we've had some questions about the caregiver support program, because that will eventually expand to, right now it's a post 9/11 veteran program. It will expand to all eras, starting with Vietnam era and before, and then go to, grab the flag. And it will start out Vietnam eras, then it'll go before that. So here's my thing. The question is kind of when will that happen? And I know you probably don't have a lot of those answers at this point, but.
For the caregiver program, we really have not received anything on it. I'm hearing that it will roll out until 2020, because there's a lot of laws and regulations associated with it that have to be interpreted and put into processes so that we can actually implement that. Hearing 2020, as we get more information, we will post it. We're going to put flyers all around the center here. It'll be on Facebook, on other outlets, so that you will get the information.
And part of that is because of the law, there is a IT component of that. Congress has mandated that there's a special IT program kind of put in there. So everything is standardized across the VA, because when the first caregiver support rolled out, there was a lot of it was left to interpretation at different facilities. They don't want that to happen with this. They want the veterans to know exactly what they're entitled to. Everybody plays from the same playbook. So that is part of it, to get that program together. The thing I did want to mention, though, as helping to answer the questions, there are a couple resources here today. At 12:15 today, we actually have a partnership with the Elizabeth Dole Foundation, and they do a lot of caregiver resources and support. They're going to have a session from 12:15 to 12:45 inside the Education Center today. You can talk to caregivers about some resources that are available. And then we have our transition assistance table out here today with the VA. Part of that program, their boss is caregiver support people kind of fall under the same supervisor, but there is a caregiver person there who can answer general questions about how the program currently works. Like we said, there's probably going to be some changes with it, but they can probably explain the current process. So there's a couple resources for you if you're looking for caregiver questions today. All right, thanks, Cheryl. All right, the second question, Cheryl, and this one for you, and then I'll let you go. All right. So this question, I think, so we can educate people too, is the question is when will there be opportunities to provide health and home hospice services at the VA Medical Center to veterans, and will there be contract announcements for such services?
Okay, we do have a hospice program here, and when a veteran is reaching out to us for that service, it's up to them who they want to use. We don't tell them that they have to use a particular agency. So we have a list of different agencies where they may have one that they want to see. In order for us to use you, for us to pay the service, you have to be vendorized. And you just call the VA and we'll walk you through that process, and then your name goes in the queue. The other thing with that is, part of the Mission Act, we're going to get veteran care agreements. I haven't seen them yet, but that's another avenue for us to use so that we can provide the care. With the Mission Act, they're changing the way we can actually pay for claims or pay for care out in the community. Veteran care agreements will help us actually provide more services when we get it. Hopefully, we should have it within the next couple of weeks, and then again, we'll post the information for you to see.
Great, thanks, Cheryl. I'll let you go back to your seat, so thank you so much. And Cheryl, we did hand out the VA Mission Act flyers there. So that has an overview of kind of what the Mission Act is. It's a big law that was signed by President Trump last year, and those are several different pieces that we have to implement at different times. But community care is that next big thing with that too. The other thing people are asking us about too is an urgent care benefit that is part of that law, where it's not for emergency care, it's for urgent care. We are still waiting guidance on that as well. But with the urgent care, as we spoke at our last town hall, it will be an opportunity for veterans to seek some urgent care services outside the VA, up to X amount of visits per year, depending on your priority level or what your enrollment level is within the VA, will determine whether or not you have a copay. And three times, for those priority 1 veterans, that 4th time you're going to get a copay. For certain priorities like 7 and 8, you're going to get a copay right away. So a lot of that's going to be determined on your status with the VA as to what you can use. But we do offer, as far as urgent care services for primary care and mental health, we do want to remind veterans that we do offer that in all of our sites of care during regular business hours. So we have been out there actively educating. We know some of our veterans have come across some conflicts or some challenges with that from time to time, and we have been out doing a massive re-education effort of staff and veterans on how that works. So we do have same-day services at our sites of care. So Dr. Commodore, this next question is for you. And I'm going to try and wrap a bunch up into one in the interest of time. So the question is, and I think this gets back to primary care providers. You kind of mentioned this a little bit. Somebody was asking about, how long does it take to get a primary care doctor assigned? And I just kind of take this 2 steps because there's another question too. Can you tell me
kind of how we're doing on the primary care. Obviously, we're bringing in APRNs, we're bringing in different type of providers. It's not doctors, it's providers we're bringing in, so we're doing that. The second part of that question is, what are we doing for specialists?
So just talk about primary care itself. It's a tremendous struggle in primary care all across. I mean, nationally, when you look at doctors choosing to go into primary care, this has been a challenge across the country. Medical schools are facing this same challenge. Part of it is this. The input is reduced. Some of it is the young physicians now are in so much debt. It's unbelievable. We see people that are $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, even $700,000 in debt from medical school. So when people come in with this debt, then they're forced to get into specialties that are lucrative enough so they can eventually pay back their debt. So that primary care has been very difficult to recruit, to get people in. So there are novel ways to do this. One example, my alma mater, UCLA, did this for a while. For folks that are going into primary care, they actually paid off their debt so that they can then willing to go into primary care, especially they might not have chosen. So now, one of the things that the VA we are doing in primary care, the recruitment, is exactly that. We offer educational debt reduction for up to $200,000. Greg, tell me, Greg Wolf is our chief of HR and acting assistant director, but he has $200,000 over 5 years, right? Yeah, so it's $200,000 up to over 5 years. So it still doesn't pay off. If you're $500,000 in debt, it won't help you, but at least $200,000, it'll help you some. So we use that mechanism to help people to get there. The other things we have to do is look at what is the challenges of doing primary care. We met with all of our primary care leadership yesterday talking about what can we do. Does everything have to go to the provider, right? Does it have to be the APRN or doctor or PA? Could it be done? Can your nurse manage this? Your LPN do this? Can the clerk some of this? Some of the refills can be handled if they're already set up with pharmacy and others, right? So we are going to try to figure out how do we better utilize the additional staff. We have pharmacists in the clinics. We have dietitians in the clinic. What can we do so that we could reduce the burden so that it doesn't all go straight back to the main team? So we're working for ways to provide that. Right now, our access, it's a real challenge in primary care here. I can tell you, our biggest challenge is the primary care access right now. It's beyond 30 days because of getting new veterans in. And part of it is, it's good and bad. Great news is we have 600 new vets coming in a month, primary care, that are saying, we want this VA, we want to come here for care. That is unheard of across the country. Most VAs hardly have any new veterans coming. If anything, every month, there are VAs that are losing 600 veterans a month that are no longer enrolled in with them. So we're in that unusual position of great to have veterans coming in. So how do we offer them? So we're looking at different ways to provide it. One of the things we've done, like in our Pahrump clinic where we have trouble staffing, we've actually have a telemedicine program with San Francisco VA, where essentially a primary care doctor sees our veterans and then they come face-to-face visit every quarter. So we're looking at that. We have people in the pipeline working to get them in, and some of it is also as when we recruit somebody, they also have to give notice to their previous employer, which could be 3 months or longer, and that's been hurting us in getting folks. And unfortunately, we've also had folks ill. I mean, some of our docs have had health issues and other things that's limited it. So it's been a real challenge, but this is not just us. In the community, the entire community, the governor, Sandoval started this. It's being continued right now also. Ish Sandoval said $5 million a year will spend toward promoting primary care and mental health provider growth. And that's exactly what I do, sit down, try to get, but you know, it's going to take a few years to graduate them to get them.
Great, thanks, Dr. Commodore. And also, hey, Greg, I'm sorry I forgot to mention, Greg is our chief of HR, but he is our acting assistant director right now, too. So, Greg, thanks for filling in our EMT. Dr. Commodore, and I also want to clarify, when you said 30 days, that's not for our established patients. Our established patients are running about 2 to 3 days right now on the average, maybe a little longer depending on their care team, but 30 days you're talking about is when we're trying to get the veteran in for his or her first appointment. So just wanted to clarify that. Renee, I have one for you, and this goes back to something you mentioned as you were speaking. You mentioned the education program, and then you were saying kind of the forever GI Bill benefit. The question came back because some people are under the understanding that you have to leave the military a certain year to get that lifetime benefit. If you're not leaving the military in that certain certain year, you're still stuck with the 15 years. Can you clarify, or has that changed?
I would have to find out. I'm not sure on that. That's a great question, though. I can think how would I would get that answer back.
Okay, well, yeah, we can help you guys publicize that, but I think that forever benefit is what they're saying is people have asked that question is only for people who have recently left the military.
Right.
Everyone else
They
is just
transition
up
out
to
and they brief on that. So that's a new change, and I don't know if they grandfather other veterans. I don't think so, but I don't want to say for sure.
Just wanted to see if there was a change based on your comments. That's the
Right.
question. Okay, this one's kind of, I guess, any one of us can take here, but this kind of gets to the services here at our local VA. One is, can a speed limit be established for wheelchairs? I don't see our VA police here, but I don't have a speed gun. I don't know if there's any way to slow them down. It's a good question. I bet you we wish we could, because I've almost been taken out a couple of times myself. Unfortunately, we just ask our veterans to use caution. Our VA police can stop them and will if they do see any type of unsafe type activity going on. So, but we do not have speed guns and issue speeding tickets inside the VA. The second question is, why is the cafeteria open on weekends and evenings for employees and visitors? And I think that just gets back to staffing and capabilities. Is kind of a business decision there. So unfortunately, we can take that back to the Veterans Canteen Service and bring it to their attention that this came up in town hall. But they fall under a different entity than us. But we will take that and try and get you an answer. This question is kind of, why can't the VA operate like an HMO? I think that's because we report to Congress, they're our board of directors, and we have to follow the federal laws that Congress has established. But I think what you will see with this Mission Act, as Cheryl briefed you, is we are going to the choice program was put into place very quickly and kept being renewed. But what they're doing is the VA is making a commitment based on Congress's approval to kind of make us put us back in the driver's seat of working with the veterans to work with you one-on-one to figure out what that best option is for your care, be it the service isn't available, be it the days that you need to get in. There's several different criteria, but I think we're hoping that taking that middleman TriWest out of the discussion and working with you directly, that you'll see some more of those improvements in those services. This question is kind of a choice-related question too. It says, why does every procedure by a choice doctor have to be reviewed by a committee of 5? And then you talk about how the doctor performed to do a procedure, and then they talk about how it has to go back for additional things. I think that what happens, and Cheryl, if you want to clarify this, is pretty much when somebody gets a consult, the consult is sent out based on what that care provider writes up. That goes out to TriWest, and this is current process for a few more weeks until the VA takes over. And then TriWest will work with the veteran to set up the appointment to address whatever that consult, whatever that care provider is written for. But a lot of times, if that doctor in the community is trying to tack on additional services, procedures, care, episodes of care beyond what the primary care doctor has provided, they have to come back to the VA to pay for that. And you want them to come back, because if they don't, they're going to provide you some care without, and you can be on the hook to pay for that because it's not authorized. And that's no different than any other insurance provider does in the nation. So just to let you know, that is the same. We're hoping by putting the VA back in the driver's seat with you, though, that'll be a little bit less of a hassle and a little bit more clarity to you. All right, we answered this one, I think. It was about primary care providers.
Okay, great.
Okay, we answered this one. This one is kind of please explain why vets are not being told about policy changes, and this is specific to travel reimbursement, I guess. So I guess we'll take that back. We've got your contact information here. We do our best to kind of make sure vets are aware of that, but what we can do is on our website, I believe is the information on who qualifies to get paid for travel, kind of what the process is. But those processes have changed. A lot of times veterans were used to getting checks or things like that. It's all electronic, and that's been mandated by the federal government beyond the VA that you have to receive those payments electronically, which means you have to have a bank account or you get a debit card. But there are places that our travel people can explain to you about that. But that is on our website.
Can you tell them what that website is?
Sure. It's I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you actually the two websites. One is www.va.gov. That is our national website, and I encourage you all to go there and register because in the last 2 months, that website has done a 180. So that has been set up to be more of a personal website to you. You can register in there if you have a DS login or My Healthy Vet login. You can actually register on that website and get all your personal stuff on there, and it'll give you your benefits information, it'll give you your healthcare information, and it'll provide you the national level information on programs and services. Now, for our local website on how our actual how we do things here with boots on the ground is www.lasvegas.va.gov. So you can come to that as well. But I encourage you to go to the new va.gov and get registered. So
Can I tack on to that our website? The state website?
please.
They got a question first.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your question, sir.